Mayor, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council to order for July 20th, 2017 at 8:03 p.m. On roll call, council members Cherto. Here. Dombrowski is absent due to travel. Golombek. Here. Bonsino. Here. Work. Here. Giandomenico.
Here.
Mayor Coletti.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see you all here this evening. We got a lot of nice things that are going to be going on this evening. We will be honoring a veteran and swearing in a police officer, so let's get started. If everyone can please rise for our prayer and flag salute. Oh God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting, which we entrust to your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and implant therein a keen sense of justice and greater love for you and our neighbors. Guide us in our deliberations so that our decisions will always please you and bring your peace and happiness to our community. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Whereas Chapter 231 of Public Laws of the State of New Jersey require at the commencement of every meeting a statement of compliance be read by the presiding officer. Now therefore be advised that the meeting requirements for this meeting have been met by publishing an annual meeting notice in the Record of Hackensack and by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well as in a public place within the municipal building, and by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 5th, 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being videotaped by that good-looking young man over there, Wayne. Yeah, just give him a little applause. He has the knack of making us look a little better on camera than we actually do look. In any case, Channel 77 on Tuesdays at 12 p.m., Thursdays at 4 p.m., and Friday at 10 a.m. The video is also available on the borough's website at www.elmwoodparknj.us. Mr. Kaczmarek?
Mayor, at this time, we'll move on to the approval of minutes for the January 12th work session, January 29th budget hearing, February 2nd work session, April 20th regular meeting, May 18th regular meeting, June 1st work session, June 1st executive session, June 15th regular meeting, June 6th work session, June 6th executive session.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor, if there's any abstentions, I'd ask the council to announce that during the vote.
Okay.
On roll call, council members Cherto. Yes. Dombrowski is absent. Golombek. Yes. Bonsino.
Abstain from July 6 meetings, and yes to the rest.
Work.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening we have multiple presentations. The first is a presentation of a mayoral certificate to one of our veterans, Pat Puglisi. I'd ask everyone to please rise as he's escorted in by both the Police Honor Guard and the Volunteer Fire Department's Honor Guard. I invite everyone to take their seats, and I invite Mayor Coletti down to make the presentation.
How's everybody doing this evening? Good? This is a happy occasion. We can be happy tonight. It's a great occasion, celebrating veterans of all times in our history. I think it's something we all have in common, something we all agree upon, and like I said, it's a happy occasion. Tonight we'll be honoring Patsy Pat Puglisi, born April 11th, 1925, from Stony Road section of Patterson. He joined the United States Army in 1943, June 29th. His overseas record took him to northern France, being at the invasion of Normandy. He received the Distinguished Unit Badge, the European African Middle East Service Medal, along with the Good Conduct Medal and the World War II Victory Medal. His services to his fellow man didn't stop there. After being honorably discharged as Staff Sergeant in March 1946, it continued. Pat, as a volunteer fireman for over 60 years, serving with his company number one, rising through the ranks to fire chief in 1984. Pat worked for East Patterson Elmwood Park Department of Public Works, always as ready to do his best. He retired foreman in February 1991, and I'm going to quote a little passage here from Joe Mulligan, who couldn't be with us this evening, but he knew Pat, still knows Pat very well. And these are words from Joe Mulligan, Pat. Joe Mulligan, former superintendent of the DPW, who was unable to attend tonight, sends his good wishes and wanted his appreciation for Pat Puglisi expressed by saying, during our time working together, we unclogged numerous sewers, repaired many water breaks, patched many potholes, and even put a man out that was on fire. The gentleman had been paving a driveway and accidentally caught on fire. He spent many hours working together, but Pat always had a way of making the time enjoyable and fun. I was disappointed when he retired and wished he could have stayed a few more years. It was a pleasure working with Pat, and we have many good memories. I am proud to have worked with Pat, and I call him my friend. Joe Mulligan. Two more points about Pat. I heard that he usually has lollipops in his pockets to give to kids. And his doctor had said he's the only 92-year-old patient that needs no medication. Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Puglisi. You made it, Pat.
Yeah. Well, first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to welcome all these people that came here tonight. As hot as it is outside, they all came out here just to come to this function here.
And honor you.
Yeah. I have all my friends here, my brother fireman here, the police department, and I did as best as I could as working for the town and everything else. So
You got to get a little closer because this wire is cramping us. And I want everybody to hear you. Pat, I know it's very difficult to talk about old times, but there's a lot of young people here that don't know what went on. The Civil War, the Revolutionary War, the First World War, let alone the Second World War. And that invasion of Normandy, that had to be one of the most outstanding invasions in history. As a matter of fact, I think it was. Can you just tell us a little about that day?
well, what we did, we landed 6 o'clock in the morning, the first day, D-Day, and we landed with the landing craft with 250 tons of dynamite on it, so we can clear the beach for the Army tanks to get onto the beach to advance forward. After that, they primed us to go to the Battle of the Bulge, but in the meantime, that was all over with. After that, they primed us to go to Japan. And by the time they primed us and everything, that war was over. So I was fortunate enough to get back home and see the family and everything else, and that was it.
That first day on the invasion, the first day of the invasion, it was said that the landing craft, that the soldiers, they all had heavy packs on, and because of the tide, when the doors opened on the landing craft, they were in like 5, 6, 7 foot of water.
We had to wade up. Yeah, we had to wade from the landing craft onto the beach. They didn't just land us on the beach. We had to paddle through up to our waist in water with the backpacks and the combat boots and everything else just to get onto the beach.
Meanwhile, being fired on with machine gun fire.
Yeah, that's it. Machine gun and everything else, whatever they had. You know, so that was it. But then after that, I came back to Elmer Park, and I met my wife, Carmela, Babe, and we got married. Now we're married for 67 years, and that's it. She's in a wheelchair now, and I still take care of her.
You better.
How many men survived?
Yeah. So,
What was that there?
I said, how many men survived from that Normandy group?
who knows? Well, knows quite a few will pass away, and a lot of times I pray for these guys that lost their lives just to give us freedom here in the United States, and just talk to other people. And there's no other place in the world other than the United States here. Yeah, just-
Anything else you want to say, Pat?
I think I said enough.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Pat Puglisi.
Mayor, at this time, I would like to invite representatives up from our local Elks Club to add another presentation for Mr. Puglisi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of the Elks, which we like to honor our veterans any way we could, I'd like to present you with this certificate of appreciation for your service to the country.
Thank you very much. And I'm sorry participate in the Elks, being my wife wasn't that great, so I couldn't make the meetings and stuff. I had to take care of most of the time. So, but I enjoyed the time when I was a member of the Elks. So thank you.
We're always glad you did come down, and once an elk, always an elk.
We thank the Elks Club. Okay, Pat, I have a certificate also for you, and it reads to the likings of that, the appreciation of what you did in the service, and also what you have done in Elmer Park. And I think that's very important, ladies and gentlemen. Not only was he there possibly sacrificing his life, when he came to Elmer Park, he was community-minded. And one fond memory I have of you, Pat, is all the years when we go from the Fireman's Memorial on Memorial Day and we go back to the firehouse, you're always there with the cakes and the coffee. And it's well appreciated, Pat.
Well, I do my share. It's, you know, I'm 92 now, and I figure I'd like to still go out there and do odds and ends just to help the fire department out. And whatever I could do for them, I'll do it as long as I'm capable.
Let me ask you something. 92, that's another thing. That's a remarkable age to reach. You got any secrets for us younger people?
Just keep working, keep moving, and that's it, you know?
Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Puglisi.
If everyone would please rise, the honor guard will be dismissed to escort in our newest police officer. Please take your seats. Mayor, we'll move on to Resolution 248-17, appointment of Police Officer Nicholas Domofsky. Be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following names be and is hereby appointed as a police officer in the Police Department of the Borough of Elmwood Park. Nicholas Domofsky. Be it further resolved that remuneration is set at a rate of $45,210 effective July 21st, 2017. Mayor will need a motion.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski is absent. Golobeck.
Yes.
Monsino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Okay. I would ask everyone to please rise as the honor guard now escorts in the newest member of the Elmwood Park Police Department. I'd like to call forward members of the Domofsky family who will hold the Bible and ask Mayor Coletti and Councilman Bonsino to come forward for the installation. Everyone may be seated. Come this way a little bit, Mike.
All right. You ready? Ready. You're going to repeat after me?
Raise your right hand.
Okay. Set. I
I, Nick Domofsky,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same,
to the same,
and to the governments
and to the governments
established
established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority
under the authority
of the people,
of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of my office.
of my office
According to the best
according to the best
of my ability.
of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Just need your signature right there, and then just finish out the balance of the folks up here. Good to go. Perfect. Thank you very much. Yep. At this time, I'd like to call forward for a few remarks the Chief of the Elmwood Park Police Department, Michael Foligno.
I'd like to welcome Nick aboard to the department, which we like to refer to as our family. So he's our newest family member. Thank you all for coming out to support him. I can tell you that he thoroughly impressed. I'll speak for the council in his interview, and the command staff of the police department. He's a very well-polished young man. Credit to his family for raising an outstanding person, and I think he's going to be a great addition to the department. Thank you to the mayor and council for continuing to support the police department and keep our staffing levels where they need to be so we can deliver the best services to the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Kazmark, if we can have the council make some comments. Mr. Work?
Nick, welcome aboard. I'm sure you're going to be an outstanding police officer, and we look forward to working with you.
Mr. Foncino?
Yes. First, Pat, I want to thank you for service and dedication to your family, our community, and our country. We just really appreciate it. And Nick, welcome aboard. You join a fantastic police department. I wish you nothing but the best for a successful, safe, and rewarding career here in Elmwood Park. Congratulations.
Mrs. John Domenico?
Pat, thank you for your services to our nations and our residents and all the sacrifices you put your life on the line so we could live ours freely, so thank you for that. Officer Dmowski, welcome aboard, and thank you for all the work you will be doing protecting our residents and our community. Thank you, and be safe.
Mr. Cherto?
Thank you, Mayor. Pat, thank you for your service not only to our country but to the borough of Elmwood Park. And Nick, welcome aboard. Good luck. Stay safe.
Mr. Gollenbeck?
To Mr. Puglisi, thank you for your service to our country and also humanity. That war was one, in Normandy in particular, one that really changed the course of history and really was one of the consequential battles really of our world. Officer Dmowski, welcome to the department. I wish you a successful and safe career in Elmwood Park. To the entire police department, we thank you for your tireless efforts in keeping us safe. To our fire department, we appreciate and respect that you came out today to support your fellow first responder and emergency responder in getting sworn in. And to Chief Foligno, we thank you, I thank you, and I think we all thank you for your high level of professionalism in dealing with the governing body and community at large. It is appreciated. Thank you.
Mayor, can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I apologize. Pat, I heard you say I'm sorry. I should be saying I'm sorry. I didn't honor a hero here. I want to thank you for your dedication, your service to this country and to this town. It's men like you that, we follow you guys. I mean, you're heroes to us. So thank you for your service and dedication. Thank you, Mayor.
As I look around the room, I see a lot of blue uniforms, firemen and police, and a show of unity here. That's a real good sight, looking at it from this point of view. And coming together tonight and honoring Mr. Puglisi and our new police officer. And what I'd like to say to him is that we welcome you. And in my travels of late, I've been talking to a lot of people, and consistently they say to me that they feel very safe in this town. And also that our police force, they're very polite. They got to do their job. Of course, when they have to, they will do what they have to do. But beforehand, they're very polite. And I think that's important when you got a combination of a residents telling you that they feel safe, and we have a police force that is polite. I think we're doing our job very well. So Nick, that's the shoes you have to fill. And I'm sure from the interview, as the chief had said, that it was unanimous. You interviewed very well, by the way. So now just continue that, and all's going to be well. Mr. Kazmark?
Mayor, at this time, I'd ask everyone to rise once more to dismiss the honor guard and our newest police officer, and then we will take a 5-minute recess for those of you who wish to excuse yourself from the rest of the meeting. Thank you again, everyone, for coming out, and again, we'll take a 5-minute recess for those of you who wish to excuse yourselves. Thank you. Folks, we are going to resume the council meeting at this time.
We're back.
Mayor, at this time, we'll move on to ordinances on first reading. We have Resolution 249-17, introduce ordinance 17-18 amendment. An ordinance to amend Chapter 17-18, adopted on May 18, 2017, which amends Chapter 7 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Traffic by amending Sections 7-12 thereof, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, August 17, 2017, at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Kazmark, you want to explain a little on this?
Mayor, over the last number of months, the mayor and council introduced a pilot program for street sweeping in the center section of town between the Boulevard and River Drive. And tonight, what we're doing is modifying that initially introduced and adopted ordinance slightly so that we can extend some courtesy to those residents who live on cul-de-sacs or dead-end streets, which would break up the street sweeping days by one half of the cul-de-sac on Wednesday and the other half of the cul-de-sac on Friday. This has been reviewed by both the Public Works Department and the Police Department, and has also been reviewed by our municipal attorney. So any of the underlined areas are the modifications and amendments that are being introduced tonight and will be adopted in August.
Thank you, Mr. Kazmark. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, Councilmembers Churdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski is absent, Golombek,
Yes.
Bonsino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, also this evening on first reading, we have Resolution 250-17, introduce ordinance 17-27 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Property Maintenance by amending Section 16-2.36 thereof entitled Service of Notice be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, August 17, 2017, at 8 p.m., or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper, a notice of introduction and final hearing is required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Kazmark?
Mayor, this ordinance modifies some verbiage when it comes to notification of a property owner, when it comes to a property maintenance violation. There was some aged language in the ordinance that required the police department in certain circumstances to hand deliver those notices. Obviously, by the process that we undertake today, that is outdated, and at this point, it will allow the building department to either hand deliver the notices or send them by mail to the property owner.
I'd just like to expand upon that. The importance here was that we have some homes that are in foreclosure and other extenuating circumstances, and in some cases, we're hogtied in the sense that there's not much we can do. And there's nothing more terrible been having a nice groomed neighborhood, and then there's one house that's overgrown, and there's mosquito and animal infested. So we're working on trying to eliminate some of the things that have been holding us back from us moving in and doing the cleanups, etc. So that's what this ordinance is helping us to do. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, Councilmembers Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski is absent. Golombek.
Yes.
Monsino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, tonight we have two ordinances on second reading. First is Resolution 251-17, introduce ordinance 17-28 on second reading. I'm sorry.
You got
This
the
is
other
also on
ordinance.
first reading.
Yeah.
And this is the bond ordinance. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to authorize the acquisition of a sewer jet vacuum machine in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum thereof of $241,000 to pay the cost thereof and to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such an appropriation, to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, August 17th, 2017, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. As many can see, this is a significant expenditure, so as the council was deliberating this item, we went out of our way, I think, to look at all avenues and possibilities to see if shared services could be an option and other alternatives. I just want to thank our administrator, Mr. Kazmark, and our DPW superintendent, Mr. Kars, for taking the time to meet with a neighboring community, with their officials, to see if there was a way we could do it for less money and in a shared service capacity. Unfortunately, this wasn't one of those opportunities, but it is very important that we did so.
Thank you. Mr. Chertoff, would you like to?
I'm good, thanks, Bob.
Okay. I would just like to add that this is a significant tool that this town needs. It's not something that you can borrow or share. We thought that all out, tried to work it out, because it is significant, the amount of money we're spending here. It doesn't come along too often. It's probably a 15-year investment in this item, maybe even longer. But the important significance about it is the fact that if we get a backup, and we all know what that can mean, sewage coming back in your home, and we have to wait to rent or share this tool because it's sitting in another town, there's going to be a whole lot more mess to clean up and a lot more aggravated people. So this was essential, but like Daniel had said, we did vet this thoroughly to make sure that there was any other option available, that it didn't pertain to our situation. Mr. Kazmark.
On roll call, Councilmembers Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski is absent. Golombek.
Yes.
Monsino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, tonight we have two ordinances on second reading. The first is Resolution 252-17, introduce ordinance 17-24 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled an ordinance to ban smoking in public places owned or leased by the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, June 15, 2017, and that further consideration of this ordinance will be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled an ordinance to ban smoking in public places owned or leased by the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, pass on final reading. Mayor will need a motion to open to the public.
Motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
Anyone from the public care to speak about this ordinance? Okay. But first, I should get the council to vote on opening it to the ordinance. So, on a roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
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 If nobody cares to speak on this ordinance, I will close. This is banning smoking in public places, dear. You don't smoke, right? So you do.
Just not in public places.
Okay.
I hate when someone told me.
Sorry, excuse me. If you care to speak, you have to come to the mic and state your name and address. Would you like to do that, sir? Okay. If not, I'll close the public portion. Motion on the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor, just for clarification, we already have a prohibition on smoking in our municipal parks and on our municipal-owned property. This will now extend that prohibition to include e-cigarettes or vaping on those properties.
Call the roll, please.
On roll call, Councilmembers Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski is absent. Golobeck.
Yes.
Monsino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, also on second reading tonight, we have Resolution R 253-17, introduced ordinance 17-25 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Chapter 2 thereof, entitled Administration." And whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, June 15th, 2017, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Chapter 2 thereof, entitled Administration," pass on final reading. And Mayor will need a motion to open this to the public.
Motion to open to the public?
Motion.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call to open, Councilmembers Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski is absent. Golobeck.
Yes.
Monsino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Motion
Ms.
carries.
Kesmar, could you just fill us in a little bit about this before we open it to the...
Mayor, this modifies the maximum amount of patrol officers within the Elmwood Park Police Department. As you may remember, earlier in the year, we allowed for a training position to exist within the table of organization. This will up the maximum amount of patrol officers to 30.
Thank you, Mr. Kesmar. Motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, Councilmembers Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski is absent. Golobeck.
Yes.
Monsino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, tonight on the consent agenda, we have Resolution 254-17, payment of bills, Resolution 255-17, confirmation of payroll, Resolution 256-17, execute shared services agreement with the Borough, with the Elmwood Park Board of Education for school security officers, Resolution 257-17, renew liquor licenses for the 2017-2018 license term, Resolution 258-17, authorize property maintenance by the Department of Public Works. Resolution 259-17, appoint seasonal employees in the Department of Public Works. Resolution 260-17, a resolution to redeem third-party tax lien at 215 Kip Avenue. Resolution 261-17, a resolution to redeem third-party tax lien at 635 Mola Boulevard. Resolution 262-17, a resolution to refund the overpayment due to tax appeal at 68 Route 46. Resolution 263-17, authorize recreation stipend in the Recreation Department. Resolution 264-17, authorize refunds for the Recreation Department programs. Resolution 265-17, resolution to redeem third-party tax lien, 79 Broadway. Resolution 266-17, a resolution authorizing additional funding for COA, Caulker & Caulker, our municipal planner. Resolution 267-17, authorize salary adjustments in the Recreation Department. Resolution 268-17, approve handicap parking space 84A Elmwood Terrace. Resolution 269-17, appoint substitute dispatchers within the Elmwood Park Police Department. Resolution 270-17, authorize GIS data exchange agreement with the County of Bergen and the Elmwood Park Police Department. Resolution 271-17, authorize a shared services agreement with the Elmwood Park Board of Education for tennis courts usage. Resolution 272-17, authorize additional funding, improvements to Mola Boulevard and Market Street to Boswell Engineering. Resolution 273-17, award bid proposal for the 2017 road program to Stanzali Construction, LLC. Resolution 274-17, appoint hearing officer for a police matter. Resolution 275-17, approve the 2017-2018 used and new car dealership licenses. Resolution 276-17, authorize 2016 LoSAP for the Elmwood Park Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Resolution 277-17, authorize block party requests, and Resolution 278-17, a resolution to accept the consent agenda as listed.
Motion to accept the consent agenda.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to recuse myself from Resolution 263-17. It's authorizing a recreation stipend for the Elmwood Park Little League, and I am an officer of that league, so I would like to recuse myself from that resolution.
So Mayor, may I make the recommendation that whomever makes the motion to move the consent agenda forward, that we exclude Resolution 263-17, and we'll vote on that as a separate matter.
Okay, so let's get to the motion. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
And that'll be inclusive of what you had just said?
So that motion will move all the matters on the consent agenda with the exclusion of Resolution 263-17.
Okay, any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, Councilmembers Churdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski is absent, Golubek,
Yes.
Bonsino,
Yes.
Work,
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Pardon me 1 second. Resolution 263-17, authorize recreation stipends for the Recreation Department. Whereas a request has been made from the Elmwood Park Little League for their yearly stipend, and whereas the stipend has been determined by a rate of $12.50 per player calculation. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council that the following stipend is hereby approved for the Elmwood Park Little League program in the amount of $3,062.50.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, Councilmembers Churdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski is absent, Golubek,
Yes.
Bonsino,
Yes.
Work,
Recused.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, under departmental reports this evening, we have the Recreation Department for June, the Recreation Advisory Board minutes for May 22nd, the Finance Department report for June, and the Library Board minutes from May 15th.
Motion, please, to accept the reports.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Mayor, that concludes my portion of the agenda.
Council reports. Ms. Dillenbeck, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. Where to start? Just like to make a brief comment. It's Mr. Vancino's department, but the Junior Police Academy was a tremendous success that I saw on social media, and the feedback from the residents has been tremendous. So I just want to thank them for continuing to do that in conjunction with the schools. Last month I had mentioned something about the state aid deal coming together that would tremendously benefit Elmwood Park. And if anyone in this room was upset that the state shut down and the government shut down, don't be, because Elmwood Park was one of the biggest winners in that entire deal that came out of it. I had mentioned that the proposal they put together for state aid would allow Elmwood Park to get an additional $1.6 million from the state in new state aid for the budget year that just started, and that was part of the final agreement. So that is tremendous news. I'm sure the Board of Education has their hands full determining how to use that money efficiently by September, but I really do believe it will go a long way to bridge the gap between our district and other districts in neighboring towns. Also tonight, on the consent agenda, we approved the contract between the shared services agreement between the school district and the town. I've been mentioning this almost every meeting, so I won't go through it all. But as many know, the town does not have any tennis courts in any of our parks. The school does, but they are in such a condition that the insurance companies and whatnot have deemed it unusable. We have gone out for a grant together, and at this point, with the shared services agreement piece done, the council passing it tonight, and the Board of Education approving it 9-0 a few nights ago, now we're in waiting mode. We will hopefully learn about how much we receive from the Open Space Fund, more than likely next year. But at that point, once we have that information, we will be able to come together and continue on with the project and hopefully get it done. For anyone in the audience or at home who doesn't have a visualization of the tennis courts and their condition, what I did was I pulled it up on Google Earth. It's amazing what technology does. And if you can see the cracks that have been filled and refilled and the condition that is really not suitable for the students to play on or the residents. Many other communities do offer this to the residents, and the courts are constantly used. And I think when all is said and done, maybe 1 year from now, I think both sides, the mayor and council and the Board of Education and the community will have a very good ribbon cutting. And we will be able to then add something new that we offer to the residents. And with that, Mayor, progress. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Dan. Just to elaborate a little further on that, the importance here, even though the school system is a separate entity than the municipality, this goes to show you that when you work in harmony, things can get done for the greater part of Elmwood Park. Mr. Chertoff.
Thank you, Mayor. In the World Department of Public Works, most of you have probably noticed the paving that has been done on Market Street. It looks great. We thank everybody for your patience in regards to planning alternate routes throughout your morning and your commute. One plug, though, the Nixle alert, I think worked very well. We sent that out, so it was nice. If you're signed up, you got that first thing kind of in the morning or the day before, just letting you know what was going to happen. I thought that was a great addition to informing our residents. Hydrant repairs and replacements continue. I believe there's 2 left. There were 36 emergency water markouts in the past month. The recycling of the grass and yard waste continues on a daily schedule. We've had over 400 yards of waste already picked up. Don't forget, if you have a TV that you want to put out on the curb, please contact Pat Burke in the recycling coordinator to arrange that to be picked up. It won't be picked up with the normal garbage pickup. We had 5 sewer clogs, and those in the pilot district received their postcard along with all of the streets for the pilot street sweeper program. Basically, there's signs that have been posted. They're in 3-hour increments depending on which sign. Most of them will say no parking on Wednesdays, and then it either says 9 to 12 or 12 to 3. And the kind of background to this pilot program was about a year ago, a resident emailed me a picture, and that picture was the street cleaner going down the center of the street. And he said, Councilman Chertoff, what can we do? Our street never gets cleaned because there's always cars parked on both sides of the street. So working with the council and the police department, Department of Public Works, Mr. Kazmark, we came up with this pilot program to see how it works. And it's designed basically to make sure that we get clean streets. And with this program, you basically have to not park on that designated street for 3 hours, and that will make sure that your street gets cleaned. And by doing so, it's not just a clean street. It cuts down on the weeds. It cut down on all the debris that's going to be in there that's going to get just flushed down the sewer and just get all clogged up. So I think this is we're in the right direction to making sure that the streets get cleaned. And I thank everybody for your cooperation. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chertoff, I've received a few calls on the subject, and they were inquiring, the residents were inquiring, and what they were saying, well, it's a little inconvenient, we have to move our vehicle to the other side of the road for that 3-hour period, but as we all can attest to, we pay for everything in life. If you want a clean street, you have to be slightly inconvenienced. So there's the trade-off. Mrs. John Domenico.
The Board of Education will not be having their normal meeting on the 4th Tuesday of the month because it's summer. They will resume in August. And I think Councilman Goldberg covered everything else in regards to the state aid that we received, which is tremendous for our town because it has been underfunded. And I'm sure Superintendent Greco and everybody else has their hands full on how to utilize that to extend all the resources available out there to provide our children with the best education possible. In the world of finance, we're just trucking along. They're halfway done with the budget, so it gives us a good forecast what we've used, what we're going to do forward, and it will let our CFO and administrator have a better idea where we stand when they look at future budgets. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Work?
Thank you, Mayor. With the Recreation Department report, just to give you a little update on the sports leagues updates, the Elmwood Park League baseball playoffs are finished. Congratulations to Spencer Savings Team for winning the Major League Division Championship and Reno's Appliance for winning the Minor League Division Championship. The Elmwood Park Little League and Girls Softball Leagues are now playing in their summer seasons. Just to give you an update on the Little League. I tried to get an update on the girls softball, but the Elmwood Park Little League 9 and 10, 11, 12-year-old teams were successful in the NEBA Summer Leagues. The Elmwood Park 9 and 10-year team finished up tied for second and won their semifinal game, and will be playing in the finals next week. And the Elmwood Park 11 and 12-year-old team finished up first place, going undefeated in the regular season. And this team is playing their semifinals game tonight at Borough Field. So congratulations to the championships on both the major minor leagues and the teams that played in the NEBA Summer Leagues. The EP Cruise fall session soccer registration is ongoing. It started June 5th, and this is the last week of signups. So if you haven't signed up your son or daughter yet, please get them down to the Recreation Department. If you don't sign up before July 31st, you'll be paying a late fee of $25. The Elmwood Park Recreation is also looking for coaches for the upcoming fall soccer season. Please volunteer and help the Elmwood Park keep these local sports youth programs going. It's so important to keep the kids busy. Keeps them out of trouble. It teaches them, learn team sports. Basically, sports is it's unbelievable for kids. Basically, many traits required to achieve success in sports are similar to those needed to succeed in life. Such as goal setting, confidence, discipline, and other leadership skills. The children will understand the value of hard work, accountability, competition, and being a part of the team. And these are all traits that your children will learn playing team sports. So it's if you get them involved, they'll learn a lot. Also, the Elmwood Park Bombers and Cheerleaders are holding their online registrations ongoing at this time. You can register online at the epbombers.com and click on the news heading, and the registration heading will be on the left side of the page. Okay, EP Summer Camp is ongoing. Understand the children are having a great time at the rec center and on their trips. And I have to commend the summer camp staff. Has been complimented a number of times for their patient, attentive service to the children of Elmwood Park. I would like to compliment Donna Puglisi, the Recreation Department staff, the Recreation Advisory Board for choosing this outstanding staff. Got a lot of compliments from people. When they go on trips, they go to zoos, they go to fun time centers, and we've got nothing but compliments from the people from those locations. The Cherry Hill Park is totally finished and is entirely completed with the addition of trash and recycling receptacles. All new trash and recyclable receptacles are being placed around Borough Field. The Gold Avenue playground equipment has been installed and is waiting for the rubber flooring. So once that comes in, that park will be all set. Concrete pads have been poured at Gold Avenue Park, at the Senior Center entrance, and the marina for benches and picnic tables. Once again, I'll remind people the rec center has extended new hours for the weekends. The rec center will be open on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 12 to 4. So if you have kids that that have nothing to do, have them go to the rec center. Get a couple of basketball games. It keeps them out of trouble, like I said. The rec director and the town engineer will be meeting tomorrow to go over to discuss the plans for the new band shell that we're planning on behind the rec center. Eventually, we're hoping to have that up soon, and by next summer, we'll be having bands playing right at Borough Field. So it'll be some nice entertainment for everybody. The spray park has been open since June 26th and is available to all residents with a red card. And the next big thing coming out is National Night Out. That will be held on August 1st. with the rain date of August 2nd. The start time will be 6:30, that will run to 9 p.m. Basically, this is a meet and greet with the police department, fire department, and the Elmwood Park ambulance corps, Come down to see the equipment, the police department, and the fire department utilize, and what they utilize in critical times. Please thank them for all their work and tireless hours that they give to the residents of Elmwood Park. Okay, and also at the National Night, there will be hot dogs, pretzels, water, Italian ice, along with inflatable rides for the kids. Spray park will be open, and music will be provided by Sound Surge. So it'll be a nice night out to meet everybody. So like I said, please come down National Night to meet and honor the members of the police department, fire department, and the ambulance corps. And on the fire department front, just a few things. The Elmwood Park Mayor and Council started a new trial program to increase the attendance of fire department members on fire calls, mutual aid calls, Elmwood Park parades, and drills. And we kind of started a new stipend program. It's almost like an incentive program. The more fires they show up, the more they'll get, for their attendance at the fires. And right now, the Elmwood Park Stipend Program was developed, like I said, at the end to an effort to increase attendance, along with drawing more volunteers for the fire department. First quarter results are in, and as right now, the entire fire department attendance level increased by 14.4%. Percentage improvement for each firehouse are as follows: Engine 1, 12.6%, Engine 2, 26.1%, Engine 3, 10%, and truck number 4, 11%, which is pretty dramatic. So it seems to be working. We hope and I know I've been bugging the chief for all these numbers, and I know he's working on, I think he's finished with the second quarter, but he didn't even get those to me yet. But I'd like to congratulate the Elmwood Park Fire Department on the level of improved attendance during these timely emergencies. It's important to have these volunteers around because, if you don't have them here, we have to call mutual aid from out of town. That takes time. Time is important in emergencies. So it's critical to have these people here, and they're on duty, and they're getting to the fires on time. So, once again, congratulate the fire department on that level of improvement. And last, the fire department also started a new program for the younger residents to introduce them to the responsibilities of being a fireman. This new group is called Explorers, and they train the young residents on the duties and responsibilities of the firemen. Although it's starting off slow, it's a little small, 12 members, but we had 5 members leave this group. 2 members joined the Elmwood Park Fire Department, volunteers from the department, and 1 member joined the Fairlawn Fire Department. So we had 3 out of 12, that's 25% that you're getting to volunteer for this important responsibility. So it does seem to be working. And with the 12 members, we had 5 additional members join. And what these members do, they go through the complete training as a fireman. Basically, when I went to a training session with the firemen, they went through smoke-filled house. They were trained how to, they had to carry the equipment in. They were trained to bring people out. And these are youngsters learning this. And it's exciting for them, and hopefully that group can grow. And that's my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Work. Mr. Vancino?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Mine should be short because Councilman Goldenbeck and Mark covered most of what I was going to say, so we should get out of here relatively quickly.
Bad part of going last.
That's right. As you know, I talk about the New Jersey Sustainable Energy Meeting. That's a group of municipalities in New Jersey that purchases gas and electric commodities as a group, and it affords us significant savings. Right now, we're in the midst of, or nearing the end of a 2-year contract on both, so we're preparing and reviewing our accounts in preparation for the upcoming bid for new contracts on gas and electric. When I congratulated our new officer earlier today, I mentioned to him that he's joining a fantastic police department, and an example of why we have such a fantastic force is our Junior Police Academy. It started 3 years ago. We're in the 3rd year of the Junior Police Academy, and the first year, 3 years ago, we had about 20 participants that participated over the 2-week program. program for, first phase is for younger kids, second phase for the older kids. Last year, we had about 60 or so, and we had over 100 this year. And it's a testament to the hard work of our police department in their focus on being a community-facing department. And I had the opportunity to attend the graduation last Friday for the 10 to 13-year-old group, and I was asked to say a few words. So I asked the students, the cadets, the junior cadets, if they had ever, prior to coming to the academy, had they ever interacted with the police department or a police officer? And surprisingly, some raised their hands that this was the first time that they've interacted with a police officer. I shared with them my first interaction. It was in kindergarten back in 1966. I won't repeat the story here, it was rather funny in terms of how I portrayed it. But then I asked them a couple more questions. I asked, did the week go fast? And almost all of them raised their hand and said the week went fast. And I also asked them if they thought back to Sunday night before they started the academy, did their experience, was it what they expected or was it something they didn't expect? And most of them said that they didn't expect what they experienced. And what I told them was, well, it went fast, that means you had fun. And it wasn't what you expected means you were forced to operate outside of your comfort zone and learn some things you typically wouldn't experience in the summer months. And why I told them that was important was as you grow and mature, the way you're going to grow is to work consistently, push yourself to operate outside of your comfort zone. And the last thing I did, I shared one last police interaction, and it was an interaction my son had the end of last month. Now, my son's a medical student in a surgical rotation at the Military Medical Center in San Antonio. And I was in work about 4 o'clock, and I received a text from him. His text was, "Dad, 2 police officers were shot, and we're on standby." And then we didn't hear from my son till about 11 o'clock that evening, and he called me and he said, "Dad, I had to go down to the trauma room, and it was wall-to-wall police officers there supporting their fallen comrades." And I told him, he said, "I don't know what to do." And I said, "Well, all you could do is stop and say a prayer for those officers and their families." And sadly, one of the officers passed the next morning. And why I shared that with the group of cadets, the junior cadets last Friday, was I told them that police officers are sons and daughters, their brothers and sisters, their husbands and wives, and their parents. And when they put the uniform on and they step away from their families, just like those San Antonio police officers, they step away from their families and they step between us and people who want to disregard our laws and do us harm. So I said that the most important thing that they should take away from that experience last week was that no matter where life's road takes them, they should always support and respect the members of law enforcement. So what a better way to do that as a community on August 1st, as Councilman Work mentioned, is to participate in National Night Out, interact with our police department, get to meet our police department, get to understand what they do for our community, and along with our police officers, our first responders, our fire department volunteers, and our ambulance corps volunteers. So I hope to see everybody on August 1st at 6:30 down at Borough Field. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Our attorney, any report? Just want to touch on Market Street a little bit. I know it was mentioned here earlier, but what you saw taking place this week was the culmination of years of work with the streetscape. Many councils have worked on that since its inception, and we finally get to see some fruition this week. We also are going to be interrupted when they come through and do the intersection of Market and the Boulevard. We tried to coordinate that together simultaneously, but with the county, it's 2 different entities, an impossible task, and it's much more dense work that has to be done on that corner, moving lights back, moving electrical boxes back. But that will be happening soon, and then what you'll see that when all that work is done, you'll see some landscaping going in from that corner past the tank to the rec building. So that that's something we got to look forward to and will be happening shortly. Also, I want to touch on the parks a little bit. We've been doing a lot of work in the parks. We have some security cameras that will be going in soon, and that will make the parks a little more safer than they've been in the past. Along with that, we had to put some lighting in to illuminate so that the cameras can pick up and do their job. And one last statement on the fireman stipend. It's good to see that it seems like it's working, and let's hope that the next reports come in typical. Mr. Cosmore, that concludes my report.
Mayor, at this time, we'll move to the public hearing portion of the agenda.
Motion to open it to the public?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone from the public care to speak? Please come to the microphone, state your name, your address, and direct your questions to me, please.
Doreen Voigt, 5 Second Street.
Excuse me, dear, could you bring the mic down a little closer?
Doreen Voigt, 5 Second Street.
Speak out, make like you're arguing with your husband.
He's too sweet, I can't do that. I'm sorry, in all due respect, I'm against this. Our block alone has 17 cars for street parking. We have 3 houses that ended up showing up here tonight. 2 houses were on vacation. We all do, I own the 2-family house, and our driveway takes 2 cars. We have 4 cars in the house. So all the time, 2 cars go on the street. Our neighbors, also the Casoros, Ed with the orange over there and his wife Donna, they own a 1-family house. And there never was a driveway built for that house. They have 2 cars in their house, and that's on the street also. The house next to them on Summit Ave and adjoining our street, second, that's a 2-family house owned by Mr. Cornelia in old days. I don't know the new owners. They have 3 cars, which is on the street parking. No driveway for that house. Across from them also, on Summit Ave, adjoining 2nd Street, Zabraka House, it's an absentee landlord. It's a 2-family house that has 3 cars on the street parking. Moving up closer to my end, Benny, who's in the black t-shirt there with his nice little tattoo, he lives right next door to me in between the man I just spoke of. And he owns a 2-family house, and he has a nice little driveway, but he also rents upstairs. They have 4 cars. Him and his wife do use the driveway completely, but their rentals use the street. I'm just saying, altogether, this is a problem for our street, and ours isn't even the biggest problem. 3rd Street is much bigger than ours, and there's cars always packed on the street. I understand that the street sweeper, there is a problem, but you didn't have this many people long ago. And I think there might be illegal people living in some of the houses also, because it's a problem for us. Even when we have to shovel snow, we have to fight for our parking spot. So I wish you would come up with a better solution, because I can't see how we're gonna do this, let alone normal days. How about in inclement weather? And I also have a handicapped husband. I don't know if you see him with the cane there. That guy is not totally handicapped, but he is blind, and I had to put in 2 stair lifts in the house. I mean, it's not an easy thing for me to go across the street, run him back and forth. I have to hold him going down the steps. Plus, we have blood draws once a month. They have to come in for him. I want to know if there's a better solution to this. And I'm only speaking basically for our block, but also First Street. There's all apartments over there. Those people have all on the street parking. Now, you're switching on. That's very nice that you're switching on and off. But we're all going to run to the same spots. And why should we have to leave our cars unsafe, not where we could look at our window and see if anybody's breaking into them or doing damage to them? I think you need to come up with something different. I understand we all want clean streets. We all like to keep our lawns manicured and our homes up to date with everything. But this simply is not going to work for us, and I hope one of them has the nerve to come up here and talk.
Okay, I have just a few comments I'd like to make, if I may, to you, dear. This is a prototype. We're doing this as an experiment. We need the input like we're getting tonight. But I have a couple of questions. These homes that the driveways are being used, there's also garages, correct?
No. They don't have any garages or at all.
Out of all the people here tonight, none of them have a garage?
No.
Okay. That's important. Okay, well, you know what our...
Ronnie Preston also, but he was at the ceremony before. He has a one family. He has 2 cars, but he has a 2-car garage. He just switches off with his other car and he'll park just for a few
You
seconds. in front.
do realize that we amended the ordinance on those streets there
Thank
for...
God you did that.
Right.
But it's still going to present the problem, maybe not so much now, but it will be, because we have people coming up our blocks and just leaving for the day, 12 hours, walk off with their lunch boxes, and we don't see them till late at night. I don't even know where they come from.
Well, those cars would be ticketed if they were
If
violating...
they were parked 24 hours, if they were commercial, they
No,
would.
if they were there
did,
during
that's all.
the sweeping ordinance, they would be ticketed.
So, I mean, I don't,
That's
okay.
a way of getting that. We
But I'm
appreciate
saying
the...
17 cars that would be on the street parking for our street only.
Okay.
That includes the 2 corner houses on Summit Ave.
We're running out of film. Can we just take a brief intermission?
Yes.
All right, we're going to take a brief intermission. We'll be right back. Please don't go nowhere, dear. Ma'am, would you like to continue? You're asking, the question is if there's a resolve for this. This is why we are making this a prototype. We're experimenting with it. We need the feedback in order to make this a final decision on this ordinance. So that's where we're at with this right now.
All right, and keep in mind, like I said, in inclement weather, I don't even know what we're gonna do. Because you don't clean, like all of us go out there, of course, unless you're handicapped, and digs out an area for our own car. But you're not gonna get the whole area clean. You would need to be totally off the block for it to get flush. You're not gonna fit all the cars that are designated for that day on there because there's just mounds of snow. I mean, you need to keep that in mind when you're making a decision, because I'm really concerned about the inclement weather. And maybe something else could be done. I said, I think it's gonna be a problem also for those people on First Street with those apartments and the businesses over there, because they're on the street.
Okay.
And I apologize, maybe some more people, because I was told it was the 24th, and I ran with my car, and I made the nicey nice, and I got 4 people between both blocks, and I told them the meeting was 24th, and I found out this meeting was at the last minute tonight. So maybe you would have had more of a turnout, I don't know.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mayor, can I just ask a question? When did the sign go up on your street? Do you remember when it
Last
first
week,
came up?
Was it 2 weeks? Well,
So
2 weeks.
has the sweeper actually come through and you've witnessed this, where you're having trouble? Like, you've already seen this happen, right? You're
Well,
not just talking
actually,
about...
I did, you know what, I did, it did involve me, because I asked my neighbor next door, which happens to be my cousin, when she went to work, if I could use her driveway, so it wouldn't involve me. And that was the day, though, that you switched. It was Wednesday, Friday, and I didn't even know it was switched. And I had parked here for nothing, I could have used the front. But, and then I just made it a point to go out, but I can't do that all the time, I can't leave him, so.
Well, I look forward, next time sweeping happens on your block, I look forward to coming out and seeing it with my own eyes, seeing
Okay.
how it all plays out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to speak? Yes, sir. State your name and address, please.
I'm Edward Kazora, and I live at 74 2nd Street. I'm the one that Ms. Waite was talking about that has no driveway. And I've been there for over 34 years, and they never had a thing for street cleaning before. And now all of a sudden they're going to start this. And now we got so many cars there that weren't there before, because they're building all these houses around, all these extra houses. Any little spot, they're building another house. And there's so many people there. And then we got all these businesses that they come out in carloads. And what's going to happen for Friday, they'll be parking on the other side of the street, and I'll have to park around the corner because of these people that work in these businesses will be taking all our street parking too. Besides all these houses that got like 6 different families in them and all over there. And then you can tell, all you gotta do is count the mailboxes and you can see how many families are in like the corner house even over there on Elm Street and Summit. And then on the other side, you got the little house and you got 4 different families in that, and they got like, it's like a little bigger than like a cubby hole in the, that they're in. And one of them got like 3 cars and a motorcycle, just one person, and the other one's got at least 1 car each. So it's very, the parking there got very bad. When I first moved there was no problem with parking. And now it's just crazy with the amount of people and everything there. And plus with the businesses, it's just ridiculous.
So what you're saying is, because of the density in the cars, the block being small, a lot of people living on the block years ago wasn't there. You're saying it doesn't work for you people to have the streets cleaned consistently.
We have a hard time even parking on a dead-end street, and there's only a few of us that live there because all these other people are parking on our block. It's crazy.
6 houses.
Okay. 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 All right. We've duly noted everything you folks said tonight. I'm glad you came forth with it, and this will be put under consideration at our next work meeting.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
There's also a fire hydrant at the end also, so that takes up, you have to be so many feet from the fire hydrant.
Yeah.
And our block is small. That's next to the Di Maria house.
Okay.
And we have the Atlantic Gutter business on our block. When they have everybody come in, 3 cars on our street.
Anyone else care to speak? Say, Kenny. Welcome.
John Marino, 73 Franklin Street, and I have the same complaint. Our street, we are west of the boulevard, and every single space is taken up at night. My son works nights, and when he comes, and if I don't save him a space in front of my house, there's no way he's going to park, be able to find a parking space, because we have a 2-car driveway, and we have 3 cars. I have tenants that have a driveway, they have 3 cars, and they just use their side of the driveway. But every single spot is taken up at night, and like she was saying before, it's such an inconvenience. We know it's an inconvenience in the wintertime when it snows, and that's just for like maybe one day out of the whole winter, 1 or 2 days out of the winter. This is going to be every single week that we're going to have to try to move our cars someplace, somewhere. And I just think that it's too big of an inconvenience for something that I personally feel it's not warranted. I mean, the streets, yeah, we want the streets to be clean, but in our situation, it really isn't going to matter very much. And
Well, there lies the trade-off, John. Like I said earlier, you pay for everything. If you don't want the streets clean and you'd rather have the parking, you're going to have a dirty street. So we can't have both. And I think what we have to determine which is more important to you people.
well, I think
I know Mr. Churchill wanted to say something, John.
You mentioned your son's gone during the day, right? At work?
now he works nights.
Oh, he works nights?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I do is I pull my car out, park it in front of the house, right? And when he leaves for work, then he comes home, he pulls my car back in my driveway and he parks in front of our house. Because if he doesn't, if the space is taken, he's probably got to park like a couple of blocks away. That's how much it is, so.
Okay, John. Duly noted, John. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. How many people are here tonight to talk about the street sweeping ordinance? Show of hands, please. And do you folks feel the same way as these folks said here? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4,
And that involves him working nights.
5, 6, 7, 8. Eight residents here tonight on that ordinance. Okay. You can come up and speak about it if you want. I think the council's got the point, and we will have this at our next work meeting for discussion. Fair enough, folks? Okay. Anyone else care to speak? Kenny? You know the routine, name, rank, and serial number.
Kenneth Arabia, 34 Locust Street, Elmwood Park, New Jersey. Mayor and councilman and council lady, we still never got anything done with the grass cutting and look and on Ada Drive. It's still a mess.
We did.
I can't even get across the street, and sometimes the cars go right around the bend there, and I try to see it, but it's hard to see because the state property, all the trees are buried on the street, and they need to be cut down because then we can see the road, because it's like a mess.
You're talking about the state property?
Yes.
Mr. Kazmar, can we please give the state a call and bring it to their attention about the weeds? Slater Drive, that is, Kenny?
Yes.
Mayor, it has been brought to their attention, but we will readdress it and ask
Okay.
for some action.
I know, but the other side of the Slater Drive too is we never cut, and it's like jungle over there. By the corner of the building, of the new building, they never do anything on the corner. On that corner, and there's like a side street there that I don't know where it goes to, but there's a side street there and it's nothing's moving, it's been cut for a long time there.
Is that where you seen the fox go into that area?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's another new animal that we have now in town.
Blue?
Yeah, it's a new one. It's a deer now we have. And we should have deer crossing signs on the street down the Slater Drive. So he keeps crossing over the street all the time.
I really truly think animals love you because you see all different types of animals.
Animals.
Yeah, and a fox.
Right.
A kangaroo.
Right, and another thing I seen the other day, honest to God, this is true too. I was crossing the street on Locust, on Middle Drive, trying to get down the Slater Drive, and a fox came right in front of me, and he went right across the street in front of my eyes. And it happened to me. And I said, this is ridiculous. I'm got a fox in front of me. I have to walk in front of him and behind him to get to work.
That's something. Something. All right, Kenny, anything else?
No, that's it, Mayor, for today. We report you every week, and I tell you what's going on.
You're always welcome. You know that.
I know that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else care to speak?
What do you think about the left? The grass should be cut, right?
If not, I will now close the public portion.
Mayor, we do need to go into executive session this evening, so whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion from the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss negotiations with PBA Local 185 and litigation Bonanno versus the Borough of Elmwood Park, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes can be made public. Now therefore, be it resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting. Mayor will need a motion to go into the executive session.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So be it.
And Mayor, we will adjourn from executive session, so we will not come out to take any further action.
Okay.
On roll call, Churdo? Yes. Dombrowski is absent. Golombek? Aye. Bonsino? Yes. Work? Giandomenico?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, folks.